Of the NHRA U.S. Nationals. Since its inception in 1955, always the largest and richest drag race of the year. This, the 35th edition, 1,000 cars, $1 million. Hello, everyone. I'm Steve Evans, and here at IRP, performance legends are created on a regular basis at the U.S. Nationals, and this weekend has been no exception. Yesterday, in funny car qualifying, Don Perdome rocked the drag racing world with an elapsed time of 5.17 seconds. Yep, you heard me right, 5:17. It even got the men's attention. 5:17.
Holy cow. Well, I'm really proud of the car and the crew and everything they've done here. You know, it's just been a struggle, but
it's hard to stun you. I think I just did.
Yeah, I didn't realize it. Wow, that's awesome.
It was 4-second elapsed times the Top Fuel Dragster fans wanted, and that's exactly what they got. First from Dick LaHaie, the perfect painkiller for his now famous broken rib. Dick LaHaie just heard the PA announcer declare a 4.98. He has become the first man to ever run beneath 5 seconds at Indy.
Steve, I've been...
Don't hurt that back.
Oh, and believe me, that back couldn't get hurt now. I mean, we worked for that all weekend. And we went out there earlier this morning and smoked the tires, and Kim said, look, we got to calm it down. And I said, we can't slow it down now. And lo and behold, she made the right call. Thank you, Lord.
The LaHaie team hadn't got the cork out of the champagne bottle when right behind them came Darrell Gwynn with a quicker 4.98 to take the #1 spot. Congratulations, kid.
Thank you very much, Steve. Last minute, you know, we're here with the U.S. Nationals, and this is the biggest race of the year. This is it. I mean,
was this a goal? It was for LaHaie to get into the fours, not just qualify well.
You know, every time I'm going to get off the subject. Every time we back this car down, it runs quicker. It's telling us something. So we got a good combination to race tomorrow with, and we weren't really planning on coming up here and running a 4, but
you'll take it.
Worked out. You bet.
Well, the grandstands are full and the pits are overflowing with shining faces, all anticipating what might possibly be the greatest U.S. Nationals ever. Now, we've shown you the drivers behind all those great performances. Here's Paul Page to tell us how those times came about.
Well, Steve, this is the motor that turned that remarkable run for Darrell Gwynn, and this is the team that gets it done. His dad, of course, Jerry Gwynn, the team manager that helps coordinate this organization, but the crew chief, of course, is Ken Venny. Well, Ken, to run a magnificent run like that, and in fact to do better, what are you going to have to do?
To do better, I believe we can do better, but we need to do about the same thing we've been doing. We're gonna try and maintain just what we're doing now, but that's what it's going to take to win.
And of course, the real key is the fact that it's a team effort.
It's a team effort. For sure, no one person did this.
The guys all working together here on Darrell Gwynn's Top Fuel Dragster. That's the story on the technical side in Top Fuel. For the story in Funny Car, let's go over to 3-time world champion Don Garlits.
Well, the performance of this car has been phenomenal. And you have just witnessed the starting of the most powerful funny car engine in drag racing history. Mike, how did it sound?
Sounds about like it did yesterday. Sounds good, no problems.
Well, you know, you got half of a national record, and obviously you're going to want to try to back that up because that's extra championship points. Is there anything left in this engine and still stay safe?
Probably just a small amount. We're just going to try and stand on what we ran yesterday and just try to go out and run good, and we have a small performance advantage over the field, and we're just going to try to utilize that advantage today and just try to stay safe and win the race.
That's a real cool move because obviously it wouldn't serve any purpose to try to increase that performance and then risk blowing up the engine.
Yeah, we stand to lose a lot more than we stand to gain if we try to go any quicker than our 17 or the 19. So we're just going to try and play it safe and win the race.
Good move. Thank you.
Well, both Darrell Gwynn and Don Perdome survived first round of eliminations held earlier today. Now it is time for round 2 of Top Fuel. This man in the famous yellow car, Eddie Hill, versus Gordy Bonin. Again, Eddie Hill carrying our Diamond P Sports camera.
Of course, you realize, Steve, this is last year's car, maybe even a couple of years ago. This is the old car that Eddie Hill has got. He has gone away from the 300-inch modern fueler.
But he's up against a car that is as modern as any of them. In fact, it was completed mid-season and is driven by transplanted Canadian Gordy Bonin. That's the machine in the far lane, owned by Ron Hodgson. Now, Bonin was a very famous funny car driver, went as far as a runner-up spot here at the U.S. Nationals some years ago, and he brought out of retirement his crew chief in that period, Gordon Jenner, and what a big, pleasant surprise he has been. This car just flying, qualified at 5:10. Eddie Hill, unofficially the quickest top fuel driver of them all at 4.93 seconds from Wichita Falls, Texas. Buzzy Carter, you've met him before. One of the very best, and look at that qualifying elapsed time, a 5:04.
Of course, that's Eddie's wife, Ursie Hill, that helps place the car in line. She said she and Eddie talked about going back to the old car. It was something that they really felt would be successful. Gordy Bonin, who has been working as an NHRA official the past several years, in fact, at this race 1 year ago, worked with us down on the starting line. We do wish him well.
Eddie Hill's right hand holding onto that brake, trying to restrain 4,000 horsepower until the flash of the yellow light. They're away. Bonin got the better start, but smokes the tires. Eddie Hill, 5.06, and we all just traveled 275 miles per hour.
Time behind us on the starting line, Frank Bradley rolls up in his matchup with Joe Amato. Now, let's go to the far end, and Steve Evans.
Since the first round this morning, the heat is up a bit. The humidity is definitely up quite a bit, which makes Eddie Hill's 5:06 even more impressive.
Oh, boy, it feels good. It sure feels good to have this thing repeat and not break. Boy, I love this little car.
Well, you brought it out of the barn.
Yeah, there's some use still for antiques, maybe even including me, huh?
You think it's on the edge?
Well, I don't know. It's hard to tell driving the car. It felt pretty good in the car. The computer should tell us, you know, whether it's trying to turn a tire or not. We'll find out.
Sure you will.
Well, consistency has been the problem for Eddie Hill, but now back with the old car, maybe he can get some of it back as Joe Amato moves back in the lanes, ready for his confrontation with Frank Bradley.
Well, Joe Amato has been on a tear recently trying to catch the Winston points leader Gary Ormsby, and he's been doing a good job of it. In fact, he won the last race in Brainerd, Minnesota, and the one before that in Seattle, Washington. This car has been undefeated. Crew chief Tim Richards, who experimented with a shorter car like Eddie Hill, has now fallen in love with the latest in dragster engineering. Frank Bradley, well, all season long, he's had one of the modern 300-inch cars and won probably the biggest race of his career with some help from Junior Conity. That was the California Nationals in his own backyard. What a day that was.
But Amato comes into this round with a definite disadvantage. Frank Bradley has lane choice and the quicker car. This may be the end of the line for that new car.
Temperature, humidity coming up, which means lane choice is critical. Amato with a terrific hole shot on Bradley. Now Bradley trying to catch him down to the end, but it's Amato all the way. Tim Richards, the crew, very, very happy with a 5:16, 287 miles an hour.
Well, it's been a long time since I've seen a man give up so much distance at the starting line. Frank Bradley must have just figured he had Amato covered completely, because he sat there almost a full tenth of a second and watched Amato drive away from him. Now, Amato didn't have a real good run. He smoked his tires just a little bit, but look at the difference at the end just from that starting line advantage.
Amato had the hole shot, and he definitely needed it to keep ahead of the charging Frank Bradley. Look at the comparisons there. But Amato won the race because he got
the NHRA U.S. Nationals. In most forms of motorsports, if a vehicle is torn apart like this, it means the crew has big trouble. Not in funny car drag racing. This is just normal maintenance to make sure everything is right on the Tom Hoover car, who will face Chuck Etchels in round number 2. We are continuing right now with round 2 of Top Fuel Racing. Paul Page.
Out on the line, it's Kim LaHaie that directs her father, Dick LaHaie, back into position. LaHaie has lane choice in this confrontation against Lori Johns.
Lori Johns is having her best performance in her entire career. Qualified for this race with a 5:03. Was actually low ET of the event for a whole session of qualifying.
An amazing young woman in only her second year of professional racing. Very popular with the fans, a most pleasing personality. And she's always got a smile on her face because of this man, Larry Meyer, who gives her the kind of performance she needs to be competitive. Dick LaHaie, well, he was the first ever into the fours here at the U.S. Nationals in qualifying. The Lansing, Michigan-based crew, headed up by his daughter, Kim LaHaie, have got a good shot at winning this race, and they need the points desperately.
LaHaie has lane choice. They've chosen the near lane. Traditionally, that is the faster lane here at IRP.
Staged and ready. Laurie John's away first. LaHaie even. Whoa, what a drag race. Laurie John's brilliant start made it a squeaker. LaHaie wins at 5:06 to her 5:13.
E.T. in the previous round.
You can see the confidence on Darrell's face. He's waving to the crowd. That team has definitely found something in this car that has brought the performance up to the level that they like. And Gwynn is having a real good time out there. He's probably figuring on running another 4-second run.
And here is the man that dominated in the early going. In fact, Gary Ormsby won 4 of the first NHRA National Championship events, had a tremendous points lead until he started crashing cars. First at Sears Point when the wing came off, then at Brainerd when a wheel stand ensued. So Lee Beard and his crew have had a tough 30 days, now on their 3rd car. Darrell Gwynn remembering 3 final round appearances and 3 defeats here at the U.S. Nationals, 2 of them to Big Daddy Don Garlits. Ken Venny, one of the most talented men in all of drag racing, that 498 proves his worth.
Now, this was back in round number 1 as Darrell Gwynn was about to make drag racing history. In the near lane, he'd already turned a 498 in qualifying. He needed to run within 1% to come up with a national record, and he did it with a 499.
The 4s in the heat of the day is a dream come true for me at the U.S. Nationals.
Yesterday, in all your excitement, you said the more we back down on this, the quicker it runs.
That's exactly right. It's teaching us all a little lesson every time. I guess it's got to beat it into us. And finally, here in September, this late in the year, it's finally got our attention.
So here we are, back in round number 2. Again, lane choice so very critical here. Gary Ormsby on the far side. It is Darrell Gwynn on the near side.
Ormsby is really under the gun, Paul. He has seen Joe Amato already survive round 1 and round 2. He's trying to keep pace on the points. It's another good one. Oh, but it goes to Darrell Gwynn. Thank goodness for electronic finish line judges. A 5:04 at 280 miles.